Katritik here. I apologize for this extended break in my schedule. I had no access to the computer room for this entire time, if you can believe it. My folks have decided to build some Lego sets over the break, and as expected, cats were not allowed entry during construction. On the upside, this has given me a lot of time for research and reflective listening. Until now, I have been posting general artist spotlights to introduce some talented artists that I like to listen to. But today, I will change the trajectory of this channel to dig deeper into one of my favorite albums. For this first album review, I picked Polymer by Tonedeff. In my own opinion, this is the most coherent hip hop album I have listened to in terms of lyrics and musical ambition. Being such a tasteful approach to the genre, it honestly changed my views on how hip hop can be done. The album compiles 4 separate EPs to form an incredibly unique selection that talks about people's inner desires and the common externalities in their lives. Tonedeff has taught me that hip hop can be much more than how the mainstream music producers and so called rappers portray it. This album is full of music and new ideas that can potentially carry the genre forward. Tonedeff spoke about his approach to music in his documentary about this album, Polyoptics, stating that he adopts the wall of sound approach commonly credited to Phil Spector. I encourage you to research this concept yourselves, but the idea mainly revolves around occupying all the available frequencies with audio signals mainly accomplished by doubling or tripling instruments. The results sound refreshing in this current era where mostly easier to digest, hollow, and spatial mixes have been trending. Anyway, I plan to review each song individually, and it's a long album, so let's get into it. You'll immediately notice in the first few seconds of the first song that this is no ordinary hip hop album. The Things You Don't See Coming begins with the softest intro to resolve into the sweetest beat, laying the groundwork for the rest of the album. As the song progresses, more instruments are subtly and slowly introduced on top of the persistent melody. We don't hear any rapping yet, so this song mainly highlights Tonedeff's mixing techniques and his use of sonics, both of which having room for improvement, I must say. The rapping slowly begins with the second song, And They Watch Them, which is on the shorter side but to the point. The song lays a dark tone for the rest of the album to come, with hollow noises and a sparse mix overall. The drum machine carries the track as Tonedeff spits some verses. I must say that I connected to this song's lyrics at a deeper level. I am also just a 5-year-old boy trying to set my own goals and do my own thing. Throughout the song, Tonedeff talks about people ignoring his work and not taking him seriously as an artist. I feel the same, trying to gain recognition as a little cat in an environment crowded and dominated by people. I also feel less loved than my cat siblings, kind of like a scape cat, so I relate to the feelings of being ignored and the insecurity that comes with it. The next song, Hunter, is one of the album's highlights for sure. Honestly, I have scripts that are shorter than the lyrics in here. The beat is fantastic, and the lows and the kick carry it until Tonedeff comes in and changes the whole structure of the song with his amazing flow. In his lyrics, Tonedeff analyzes his place in the rap game by taking a reflective approach that was eye-opening for me and taught me how to behave more like a mature and adult cat. The transition from being a kitten to an adult is pretty quick for us, so I need these type of reinforcements to my thought process. The most important sentence that I took from the song and I use daily to motivate myself is success is the best revenge. Coming up is the star of the album in my own opinion. If you only have time to listen to one song, listen to Competitive Nature featuring DJ JS1. The lyrics again are the carrying factor of this song here. The soul of the track lies in the pads as they pave the way for Tonedeff to rap. The song comes to saturation and reaches the wall of sound structure multiple times as Tonedeff makes his points. In the first part of the song, Tonedeff shines some light on the shortcomings of the people in the industry and his place among them. In the second part, he highlights his insecurities and how it made him feel to see people on award shows who appear overnight. Listen, honestly, this section affects me profoundly and talks right into my soul. Ever since I was a kitten, I have known that I have better hearing than all of those humans who are making music and film sound and whatnot. However, it took me a while to understand that the so-called competition was an illusion. It is possible to move at one's own speed and carry out living from your own frame of reference. So now I do not care about what other people do, and I try to be myself all the way, the best version of myself. Following up, Demon earns its place as a very well built piece that carries the wall of sound structure. The song is about anxiety, and it successfully manages to build tension in the listener through the fullness and the anxious flow and delivery of Tonedeff right until the resolution at the very end. Executed beautifully, but personally, I don't think it tops the song's stress by justice in portraying anxiety. The next two songs are thematically similar. Cinder presents a philosophical approach to the concept of time, and the next song, Moment, is a continuation of the same theme. There isn't much music in Cinder, but Moment has an evolving solid beat that plays along with the lyrics smoothly. The walking bass line that repeats for the most of the song is amazing, and the never-ending feel it has gets you going. It carries the voice of Tonedeff purposefully. This song is one of the best produced songs in the album, and it allowed me to view time through a different lens. There are a couple of golden sentences in the third verse that I try to apply in my daily life. The highlight is when he says procrastination was theft, and let me tell y'all, he's right. So stop with your excuses and get to whatever you need to do to fulfill your dreams. Another favorite spot of mine is when he goes, "The way that I kill time is abusive," towards the end. In particular, this sentence forced me to reflect on how I spend my time. I already have to sleep up to 16 hours a day, around 2 hours go to personal hygiene, an hour for food breaks and digestion, and a mandatory playtime of 1 hour. I end up having only 4 hours a day to work on my dreams. I used to spend those 4 hours looking for love around the house or simply have more playtime. But now I work for my own goals, so thank you, Tonedeff, for waking me up. Next up, we have Glutton featuring Number 9, which starts with a dubstep-influenced growling bass track that wanders around throughout the song. The bass remains the most prominent part of the track other than the beautifully laid out drums. In fact, one could classify the track as drum and bass for the most part. Tonedeff displays how good a rapper he is once again in every single verse. I can also relate to the gluttony through my own feelings towards certain canned food brands. I don't think I have a very healthy relationship with food in general, but I have not yet faced my insecurities in this area. Maybe I'll bring this up in a future episode. The album then continues with Sunrise. This song in particular displays Tonedeff's singing abilities, and let me tell y'all, that guy can sing. However, I must say that I hear a technical error in the first hook, as they didn't cut the audio files from zero crossings. I am talking about the signal that is traveling across the stereo field. You should always cut from the zero crossings. I don't know what to say. It is kind of unacceptable to my feline ears. The drum and bass structure keeps going as the second verse begins and continuously rises in frequency. The slowly flourishing drop around the 2-minute 55-second mark is phenomenal, as the anxiety that has built up leaves its place to a beautiful choral performance. Beautifully mixed, full of surprises, and that last section is excellent, really. The next song, Phantom, is another gorgeous piece, mixed perfectly, I must say. It has multiple build-up moments that were inspired by the wall of sound ideology. Dad? Dad! I am recording here. Lights, please. Can't believe this. Talk about being invisible. I will not cut this part out, so you see what I have to deal with regularly. Give me a second. I'll move to a different room. Anyways, where was I? Yes, the next song. Five Sisters shines like a bright light as soon as it starts with that synth melody accompanying the most beautiful 808. The drum tracks are complex and interesting throughout, and the whole thing is well mixed for the most part. I love the place where the vocals are for the verses. In my own opinion, it is very elegant to hide the vocals within the instruments rather than having it in the forefront. I would love some more of the vocals in the hook, but it's just my cat preference. The whole song is very intimate in terms of lyrics, as Tonedeff lays out his mother's characteristics through his sisters' lives. Each sister gets their respective melodies and verses. I know she'll give me a hard time for this later, so let me cut it short. I also have a sister that is a fighter, precisely like the number 5 in the song. I can really relate. Moving on, we have Use Me, which starts with a cool drum and bass feel again, accompanied by Tonedeff's voice. Towards the second hook, some shiny synth melodies come in and gracefully lead to the bridge. All in all, Tonedeff murders two incredible verses. Having mentioned grace, I don't think the next song, Filthy XXX, has much of it. I gotta be honest, I couldn't understand this song's concept very well. I assume it is about reproduction, but I can't relate to it in any way since my neutering. I don't have that drive in me at all. But the song is very happy and cool. Not much to display in terms of technical rapping from Tonedeff, but the beat is lovely, and the scary synth in the hook sounds great. Narcissus, the next song, starts with a high tempo hook and continues with Tonedeff murdering another set of verses. Overall, it is a well built piece that is also mixed well. The drums carry the verses and leave the lead to the synths for the hooks. The ominous synths going throughout the hook fit with the dark theme of narcissism and vanity. The lyrics are about people spending more and more time in vain. I am also in vain for the most part, and you can follow me on IG to witness that happening. We are approaching the end of the album with More Like You, where fear accompanies Tonedeff. This song is an introspective work of poetry as Tonedeff reflects on his abusive father's influence to later understand and forgive him. The track is minimalistic in terms of music, yet towards the last part where Fear sings, the growing legato bass is phenomenal and gives me shivers every time. Finally, the album closes with another thoughtful piece, Control. It is a 10-minute journey which starts with a great strings track and continues with the hook to introduce the tone and build the wall of sound. As the verse begins, everything else disappears and a piano slips through the mud that is left behind. As it continues, the wall of sound builds up again and rises through the second hook. The second verse becomes especially remarkable as Tonedeff gets faster and the drums come into play. The outro preserves the wall of sound feeling all the way to the end, leaving the listener elevated. It is really a masterpiece. In this final song, Tonedeff talks about his shortcomings as an individual as he fails over and over in different aspects of life and finds himself. I think failure is a mere step on the way to success, so getting familiar with it must not be such a bad thing. Wow, y'all, that was a lengthy commentary. If you stuck around until now, thank you. I hope you listen to Polymer, leave a comment, and tell me how you like it. I will see y'all next time.